Assalamu alaikum. Just want to give a faida or some faidas from the Quran fawaid. Look, like we're supposed to have a relationship with the Quran. It's supposed to be very deep and touching between us and our Allah. Allah says, for example, in this surah that I'm reading, Surah Az-Zumar, it's maybe my favorite surah. This surah is so deep, soul touching surah. Give it time, read it without a rush, and let it sink into your soul, and it will penetrate very deep. It will penetrate from you. It will make your mind go from this world and into the realms of akhirah. It will make your soul fly from this earth up and above the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'll feel that way, subhanallah, if you let it. So Allah says in Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, أو تقول لو أن الله هداني لكنت من المتقين. Just a rough translation. That, subhanAllah, some people will try to say, if only Allah guided me, then I would have been from the righteous, or the muttaqeen, people of taqwa. Then there was another thing Allah says, أو تقول حين ترى العذاب لو أن لي كرة فأكون من المحسنين. Also, that when they see the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will say, I don't want to give a false translation of it because I don't know it completely. I'm just being totally honest with you. But I believe it's when they see it again, but I need to cross check that. They will say, when they've seen the punishment of Allah, that I would have been from the muhsineen, like the good doers, the people of ihsan and excellence and perfection in my worship to Allah. And subhanAllah, these are like excuses. Like, it's little too late. It's the day of judgment. Of course you're going to say it now. And how can you... And the first ayah, that if Allah guided me, it's like they're trying to blame Allah, that I would have been from the righteous people, But look what Allah replies. SubhanAllah, this is what I'm saying. Let the Quran sink in. It's deep. Allah says, بَلَا قَدْ جَاءَتْكَ آيَاتِي فَكَذَّبْتَ بِهَا وَاسْتَكْبَرْتَ. SubhanAllah. Allah saying, basically, don't try it. The signs of Allah, they came, both through the Quran and even what you are seeing and experiencing of the greatness of Allah. You can't, and they say, Allah says, فَكَذَّبَتَ. So they belied it, they rejected, they denied it. Yeah. وَاسْتَكْبَرْتَ. And they had this arrogance towards it. Let's break that down. If you haven't got time for this state, it's no problem, inshallah. Maybe watch it later. So, subhanallah, how many of us are lying to ourselves and trying to lie to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the signs of Allah haven't come to impact our lives and for us to be humbled before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran with its miracles. You don't know the miracles of the Quran, how it's been preserved. You don't know the beauty of the Quran, the way it's talking about the akhirah events, about who Allah is, about who we are not. Subhanallah. The signs of Allah, when you look at the skies above you, the signs of Allah in your own body, the signs of Allah in how much He's blessed you, the list goes on. One really needs to reflect, subhanallah, upon the Quran. And this surah, I could go on and on. It is so soul touching. I just wanted to share it because, wallah, we need to let the Quran infiltrate us. We need to let the Quran really sink into our lives. And subhanallah, how many of us, it gets to me that it's like we don't have time for the Quran. Wallah, we should think about our relationship with the Quran. I advise to myself, sometimes you live such busy lifestyles, and and then when you come back to the Quran, you realize that subhanallah, how could I possibly neglect reading and letting this Quran affect my soul, get me close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, work hard for this dunya, but you're here to worship Allah and to love Allah, to appreciate Allah, and your heart and soul to solely be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah for tawfiq with Quran. Ameen.